All right. What's up, everybody? I think we're live. Back with another breakdown. Today I'm going to go over the Ponop versus Jenkins fight. I'm actually doing this before work, so kudos to me, man. I said I was going to go hard through the end of the year before I figure out if it's worth continuing or not, so I'm holding up my end. And this was it was an okay fight. It was pretty sloppy as far as the striking goes, but Powell was going with his left hand, which is not his dominant hand, so you have to be pretty lenient on that side, although he still was up on that stage. But it was super impressive that he was, not able to gut it out and not leave the competition. We've definitely seen people leave the competition for less than that. So at the very least, the guy's tough as hell. But yeah, overall pretty sloppy on the striking. I mean, we had 3 strikes thrown and 2 of them were fouls, and the third arguably could have been a foul. So not the best fight overall. But however, there was one thing that came up when I was watching this fight that absolutely needs to be addressed. So that'll happen on, I guess we'll do it on Devin's slap, because that's where I really noticed it. All right, so let's start with Ponop. So, I mean, he came in at 6'1", 251 and a half. So he's not even the biggest heavyweight. It's early in the morning, man. This was a heavyweight fight. So yeah, Powell came in 6'1", 251 and a half. Not the biggest heavyweight, but he's a scary dude, man. He's very scary. He gives James Stoney a run for his money as far as being scary goes. He was doing in his training practice or whatever with Trujillo and the team, they were doing this crazy dance where they do this weird thing with your arm. And man, I was a little weirded out by this because where I'm from, that means fuck you. It means either fuck you or shove it up your ass. So, I mean, yeah, that was a little awkward, but apparently it's some sort of Hawaiian dance or whatever. But it was pretty scary watching him do it. And then at the face-off, man, he was Devin was looking at his jaw, and he was like, "Oh, don't be looking here. You're gonna need to be looking here." And he's pointing down at the floor. I'm like, "Bro, holy fuck, you are psycho." I don't know who on planet Earth would want to fight this guy. Anybody that says they do is completely lying, because the answer is nobody. The answer is nobody. Nobody would want to fight this guy. And yeah, super scary. The only thing that I've ever not liked from Powell was the fact that he kind of got butthurt when Angel called him out. Powell was talking shit about Angel right to his face, saying Alexander was going to fuck him up. And then Angel was like, "You need to stop talking. You haven't done shit." And he got all butthurt about it. So that wasn't the best look from him. But as far as fighting goes, I mean, I wouldn't want to fight the guy. And then for Devin Jenkins, first and foremost, he's a veteran. So Devin, thank you for your service, my man. And you knew he'd be super tough, just like Josh. Those military guys, they're fucking tough, man. He came in with an 889 slap score. Not that matters a flying fuck. And then I forgot to mention that Powell came in with a slap score of 961. Not that matters a flying fuck. Just a heads up, I actually came up with a different way to judge a visual instead of the slap score. I'm still working on it, but yeah, look out for that. Devin came in 6'3", 244, so really not the biggest heavyweight, man. He was just tall. Personal trainer from Atlanta. He looked the part. He looked like an athlete. But to be honest, man, I really didn't have too high of hopes for him in this particular matchup, just based on how scary and good Powell seemed to be. Overall, I think he did okay. He just ran into an absolute monster. And I think that the last strike, the one that put him out, arguably could have been a club. So I kind of felt for him there. But it wasn't called. So as far as I'm concerned, it was a knockout win for Powell. So with that said, let's get into it. Powell won the toss and he was slapping first. And on Powell's first slap, dude, it was a major club. It was a major club. It was a turkey club if I've ever seen it. Super deep on the face and low. And again, I don't know how many times I have to say it. These heavyweights keep missing low. I don't know why, but it's a trend. And I think that nobody can argue me that it's a trend. It is 100% a trend. These heavyweights are missing low, man. So I haven't been able to completely prove why, but I'm confident saying that it's a trend now. But yeah, it was a club, definitely the right call. And so they got it. Shout out to the refs because they got it right there. The point didn't end up mattering because the fight ended early, but I really did feel bad for Devin because, again, anytime you eat a club, it has compounding damage in fights. I like to compare it to like when you have that jar of salsa that you can't get open. So you like squeeze really hard or whatever and you like turn and then it doesn't work. So you like take a break, you put it down, then you come back and do it and it just pops right open. Like that's what I like to compare eating a club on your first strike to. Like, yeah, you're straight and you get to go straight with, quotation marks, but you're halfway to getting KO'd at that point. Like you're halfway to being open if you're the jar. So there really just is compounding interest in fights. And so I felt for Devin here because he ate a club from Pau, who's a huge hitter. And for Pau, I mean, you have to give him like a little bit of leeway, man. He was going with his offhand. At the end of the day, he was up there, so we have to judge him based on his strikes, but he was going with his offhand. So it really was pretty impressive that he was even able to compete competitively with that, let alone get a win and a KO. Despite it being close to a club, man, he got a KO with his offhand, so it was fucking impressive, man. Fucking impressive. And I feel bad for Pau because it looks like with a fracture, man, he probably is going to have to go the entire show on his left hand. So curious to see how that unfolds. And then, but yeah, Devin was able to eat it. Oh, before I go off of it, so Pau on his first lap, like I actually turned this into a meme if you follow me on Instagram, but he was like going like, that's right. It's like, bro, you are an absolute fucking psycho, dude. Imagine standing up there holding that styrofoam and looking at Pau going, that's right, before he fucking slaps you in the face, bro. I mean, dude, Devin's got some balls for getting up there, man. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. And then on Devin's first lap, yeah, this was a turkey club as well, man. It was very similar to Pau's. It was low. And all right, so this is important because Devin had an absolutely bizarre windup, and I want to be very clear here because this is an extremely important point that I've never heard anybody bring up. So both guys were going right on one with a measure, and both guys were doing this, but Devin was worse with it, and he didn't do anything wrong. This is him taking advantage of a loophole in the rules. So I just want to get that out of the way. But the entire reason that they make you measure on one is so that the defender knows when the strike is coming. And then, so the second you allow somebody to pause for 1 to 3 seconds and not have a clear idea of when they're throwing the strike, the measure is completely out the window. It's completely pointless at that point. And again, both guys were doing it, but Devin's was worse. And again, there's nothing, like he didn't do anything wrong. He's just simply taking advantage of a loophole in the rules. But I think it's stupid that they let you do that. And I think that this should be changed. And I think that it will be changed eventually. Because again, it just completely defeats the purpose of measuring. If you're going to let them pause mid wind up, then don't even make them measure, man. Just let them go straight, slap Jesus on them. Like, so yeah, I really don't like that you're allowed to do that. And I think that that's a dumb rule and that should be changed. Curious to see what other people think about that, but yeah, absolutely bizarre wind up from Devin. I didn't like it for a few reasons. One, because of that, and two, because it kind of breaks your momentum. Like you go down and then you explode into the strike. So the second that you pause at the bottom, it kind of defeats the entire purpose of, like the entire windup. But you might as well just start at the bottom. I feel like you're losing momentum that way and losing power, but who knows? It was a club. It was the right call. And then on Pau's second slap, I mean, dude, who said it best but him? He just goes, bye boy. Like, dude, this guy is petrifying, man. Like, it was a monster shot. It looked kind of like a club to me, but dude, if you're not going to call it, like, this guy just knocked him out with his left hand, like his offhand. Like, you have to be super impressed by the guy. The guy looks like a straight problem. But yeah, this wasn't a great fight overall, and I really, really, really like that was what stuck out to me the most was the fact that they're gonna let that shit slide on a mid wind up. Like it really, really, really didn't sit well with me. I think it's stupid. I might even like run a poll on Instagram to see like what people think. If anybody has an opinion on that, like please drop a comment. But yeah, Pow's second slap, it looked pretty deep and low to me. It looked like it could have been a club, but again, they're really going to let these go on the reality, especially if they already called him for a club, and if they called him again, that would have been match. So I really think that they're going to let these go. If it's your second one, like it's going to have to be really, 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 really bad. And I think that they knew that he was throwing with his offhand and probably were a little more lenient on that, but who knows, man? That remains to be seen. Can't wait to see what Pow does moving on in the show. I'd love to see him face James Stonier. I think that would be an absolute slammer. I've been pretty hot on like calling fights lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is what they end up doing. But for Devin, I'm not really sure, man. If we saw him again, I wouldn't be like why, and if we didn't see him again, then I wouldn't be like why. You know, I'm right in the middle on him. He ate a club. So I felt bad for him there, and it looked like he could have ate a club and gotten knocked out on a club. So I kind of hope that, you know, they give him another chance, but let's see what happens. Maybe even on like a season 4, you give him another chance if he's not going to get a chance on like the undercard or whatever, because there's a lot of people waiting for spots on the undercard. Like a lot of strikers can't even get on these cards. But I've heard that obviously they're gonna go Power Slap 9 in Abu Dhabi in October, and then I've heard Texas in December. So that's good that there's gonna be 2 cards there in the air, because a lot of these people really need matches, man. But yeah, anyway, your boy's got to go to work, so I'm gonna cut this. But it wasn't the best fight overall, but there was some good to take away from it. And again, I think that rule needs to be addressed. So we'll see if it does.